New World has been out for 2 years now, and AGS just released the Rise of the Angry Earth expansion that has blessed the game with several changes and updates. Among these, there is one that completely changes the entire game for me and actually makes New World great again. No, it's not the horse or the lion you can now ride, nor is it the complete overhaul to the gear score system. As a player who's returning to the game, this one change makes me excited to log in each day and engage with New World in a way I haven't done since launch. In this video, we explore the best change and the many great updates to the game. I'm Spooky Pops, a player who has spent over 2,000 hours in this game since launch. Let's get into it. So without further ado, the single best thing that AGS has done for the game is influence races. Allow me to explain why. New World's open world PvP combat has long been regarded as one of, if not the most fun part of the game. It unfortunately did not happen very often before this new expansion. Influence pushes occasionally caused open world PvP, but typically it was one-sided, favoring whichever company brought more of their members to the fight. Since there was no skin in the game for anyone besides the companies involved in the territories or the influence pushes, the open world PvP was extremely lackluster. There were rare moments where you'd get all three factions in mass numbers out all participating in open world PvP, but the last time I experienced this level of fun was back on Eden, which isn't even a server anymore if that tells you anything about how long I've been playing the game. Now, influence races have essentially replaced influence pushes as the method by which companies gain the opportunity to declare on territories. They are scheduled events for each territory just like a war or an invasion, and it's super easy to get involved with the event. Whether you are a solo player or a small group of friends or a small company, it's easy for everyone in your faction to X up in chat and set up raid groups. The ensuing fight over the control towers and fort is thrilling and fun and engaging. Control towers are the new addition to influence pushes that provide advantages during the event. These towers are typically the center of open world PvP between all three factions. This type of PvP content is similar to wars, so it satisfies that large-scale PvP itch that the game is so famously known for. With less than 5% of the New World player base regularly participating in competitive wars, influence races bring that warlike content to the entire player base. So this update really helps bring community back to the game. Admittedly, the races aren't always perfect. You'll get randomly teleported back to a settlement if there are too many players in one zone. There will also naturally be lag when hundreds of players are out participating in the PvP. But for the most part, the open world PvP is amazing. The other reason I'm incredibly excited about influence races is because they only last 30 to 45 minutes. In the past, influence pushes were boring, mindless, soul-draining experiences that potentially lasted several hours depending on how many company members actually decided to show up and help run missions. Now, whichever company gains the most influence in 30 minutes gains the opportunity to declare on the territory. Running missions is still a thing, but no longer do they make me want to puke because of the scheduled time limit. Plus, player kills actually give you a chance of really good legendary gear drops, which was never a thing in the past. So, for someone who has been critical of AGS in the past, I can also recognize their victories and positive changes. Way to go, Amazon, this update is amazing. Besides influence races, there are several incredible updates that should excite any New World enjoyer. First, AGS has decreased the number of mutations. No longer is there 10 mutations per dungeon. Now there are only 3 different mutations, M1 through M3. This adjustment was much needed to create parity among the player base. In the past, there was a small fraction of players doing M10s, while the majority of players were stuck anywhere from M5 to M8. With only 3 mutations, however, it provides more opportunities for the entire player base to run mutations. Additionally, AGS eliminated the infamous need to have separate gear for each dungeon. No longer do you need specific ancient gear or Angry Earth gear or human, lost, or corrupted gear. Knocking down this barrier was much needed to greater unify the player base and simplify entering dungeons. Dungeon gear was not the only changes made to gear and the gear score system. AGS increased the max gear score from 625 to 700. Upgrading gear now no longer requires umbral shards, but other material and resources that cause a one-time upgrade to 700. Named items are the only gear you can upgrade to 700 using the kiln. Note that there has been issues with upgrading gear, but I imagine Amazon will soon have it all ironed out. Perhaps the most important change was eliminating the notorious gear score grind. Yet another brilliant change that gets rid of a soulless, mind-numbing, infuriating grind. No, you don't need to run hundreds of world tours to increase your gear score. Once you hit level 65, gear can drop at any gear score regardless of prior drops. Additionally, creating specific gear with the exact perks you want is possible with high-tier materials and resources. How many times in the past did you need to craft multiple items in hope of hitting best-in-slot gear? How much gold did you completely waste? How many resources and materials were wasted, and how infuriating was that? AGS changed the gambling system to something much more satisfying and certain. For those of you who are PvP chads, Amazon also eliminated the resilient perk that was absolutely necessary for any PvP gear. By eliminating this perk, they created an opportunity for us to have more diversity in our builds. They also added artifacts to the game, which are some of the best gear you can get in the game. For example, there's Featherweight, a light armor chest piece artifact that has a very interesting and unique perk that makes the armor weightless. It gives the opportunity to combine this chest piece with different weighted gear, such as a heavy helm and heavy boots, and still maintain that light armor weight limit. All of these changes to gear and the gear score system excites me for New World. Experimenting with different builds and getting great gear is much easier now. In the past, I felt like getting the right gear was so difficult that it shoehorned me into one specific role. Usually I play as a bruiser in PvP content, but with the update, I am looking forward to branching out and trying different weapons and different builds because of the new update and all the changes Amazon has made. Finally, AGS has given us mounts, a great and easy way to transfer settlements, territories, even the entire map. They've given us transmog, a great way to add a personal touch to your look. They have revamped the leveling process over the course of the past expansions. They've revamped a couple dead zones that bring more life to the map. Shout out to First Light, may you rest in peace. They've made doing portals and invasions more rewarding. In my opinion, they still need to change and adjust invasions, but hey, I know there are people that actually really enjoy them, so hats off to y'all. Over the course of the game, Amazon has slowly been listening to player feedback, and it really does show. These changes and updates all share a common theme that I mentioned before: community. I believe this expansion really helps to cultivate and encourage a community of friends. Everything they've done involves eliminating barriers to participating in endgame content, which was one of the biggest issues with New World in the past. Creating more opportunities for all to run more mutations, schedule nightly influence races, eliminating the complete randomness of the crafting system, enhancing gear score, and bringing artifacts to the game. My point is that New World has something to offer to any type of player. A solo player can get involved with just about any aspect of the game: mutations, 3v3s, OPRs, influence races. PvE enjoyers are still doing their mutations, just with a wider player base. Invasions are still a thing for them as well. Any PvP player should be incredibly excited about influence races that happen each night, so if you log into New World and you really don't feel like doing OPRs or 3v3s or venturing it out on your own, you can simply get involved with these events that happen every single night that give you the opportunity to PvP. Everyone has something that they can do, and you should be able to enjoy yourselves. Like I said at the beginning of this video, I want to log into New World each day, and that feeling or desire hasn't happened in a very long time. I can confidently say that over the course of the game, this expansion and the game right now is the best New World has ever been. That's it for this video. How are you enjoying this expansion? How are you enjoying the game? Hopefully you are enjoying New World as much as me and taking advantage of the fully populated servers. I know everyone complains about the fully populated servers, but no one, and I mean no one, wants the opposite, which is no one around and no one to do anything with. So enjoy this fully populated server thing while it still lasts. If you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing to support the channel. I'll see y'all next time. Spooky Pops out.